What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about OnyxCoin today, XCN USD. It is the 11th day of December, and here we are at about 0.00597. But man, we're celebrating as if we were up here because we did technically we saw a higher high right there off of what seems to be a double bottom low, right? Now we've seen some technically like higher highs, relatively speaking, stuff like this. We haven't seen any higher highs on the grand scale of this trend overall. I think to see a true higher high in this trend, we need to get above these highs up here. But this is still kind of exciting, right? And not to diminish the excitement, but to be completely fair, we saw a higher high right there, and then we moved down. So just to keep in mind what kind of asset we're dealing with here, okay? But we do have this double bottom look. We have a lot more consistent volume coming in. We've got all that bullish divergence on the XCN BTC chart. And for those of you who are unaware of what I'm saying, most of you probably are fully versed in this by now. You might not even know TA, and yet you know every indicator on the weekly time frame has bullish divergence. On the weekly RSI, which we're actually fulfilling now, on the weekly MACD, which, you guys, we're getting very close, especially with this movement here. We're getting very close to crossing this. We get a green, we get this thing to flip green. That's the signal, and at that point, we might already be up by a significant amount. Perhaps the signal starts before then, but that is a very powerful signal of weeks, probably even months worth of growth, genuinely. I mean, just think about it, right? We've been red on the weekly MACD now since March. We've got bullish divergence that's been building since June. We've been red since March, and we're about to cross on the weekly time frame XCN versus BTC pair. That's going to have some positive impact on the price. Absolutely. That alone, and then XCN BTC, of course, we're going to go through the whole rendition here for anybody who's new. Low to high, right off the golden ratio zone, right off of it. It's perfect. We're literally going to bullishly engulf the last 4 weeks of candle closes if we close here or higher, and we're probably going to push higher. We'll see. We'll look at the US dollar pair to determine that more. We're also not just finding support at the golden ratio. We're also not just getting bullish divergence on the stochastics, on the MACD, and on the RSI. We're also finding support at what is, to say the least, significant resistance, right? Right here, we're literally finding support right here, right where we found resistance before. It's perfect. It's perfect structure. You guys, massive rally, long worked for slow bleed down, right? About a year's worth of consolidation to the downside just to get you back to prior areas of resistance. And it's your golden ratio retracement. It's storybook. It's literally like a fairy tale. And we're at the part where things are about to get really good. This is where happily ever after comes in, okay? Cruella just died. I don't know. Whoever the villain is in this story. It's not 101 Dalmatians. Who'd be the worst villain? I don't know. I'm trying to think here. I feel like the Wicked Witch from the original Wizard of Oz. That one is she is a terrible, absolutely terrible person. Anyways, XCN BTC, very bullishly postured. USD, we've known because of that. We've got this move that's kind of pre-programmed into it. And the expectation here, again, on the XCN BTC chart, we keep referring to this because if there is divergence, we take out the US dollar in context altogether. If there is significant divergence, and there is across all indicators on the weekly time frame that we have here, the idea would be that we see a standard retracement here. We're probably not, with all this divergence, just going to hit the 236. So I think a good minimum, and this is a very conservative estimate, is that we just pull back to the 382, which from here is 87%. If XCN grows 87% versus Bitcoin, likely, it's incredibly likely that we would see then probably 100% move or more versus US dollar. So in other words, what we've done and what we're doing now is hopefully the beginning of this next move that will take us back above 1 cent and back to these areas where we possibly can contest for the first time a lower high and actually provide that we are breaking out of this trend truly, right? Because a lot of people make the mistake, myself included, it happens all the time, and everybody does this maybe at first especially, but a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that oh, this means we've broken the downtrend. Look, see, we broke the downtrend. Clear as day, downtrend's broken. No. To break the downtrend, you have to get above the last high. But we did have a higher high, and this was a higher high too. No, use your brain, use your thoughts, your actual thoughts here, right? Look at it for what it is, not for what you want it to be. This was the point at which we started the next move down. This was the point at which we start, you know what I mean? Each high subsequently. It's very obvious if you're not lying to yourself. It's completely obvious that this next move will take us above 1 cent. And again, we're being conservative here. If we are pressing on the brakes a little too much, if we're holding this back as far as what our expectations are, it's completely possible that this next move takes us above these highs, and in which case, again, throughout this whole range, it'll be our first higher high. And we will truly break out of this downtrend then. And at that point, oh baby, then the FOMO comes in. Then we're not so delusional, are we? Right? Then people might be like, oh, it's like the same thing with Bitcoin Cash, right? People write it off when it's at its lows, but then when it looks like it's about to start doing good, people do their research and like, oh, this is why people are investing in this. Okay. Oh, they're set up, that they are literally set up to bring institutional finance into crypto. They're literally ready to onboard institutional grade financial capabilities. Like, okay. And there's a ton more than that. There's so much more than that. This is not a fundamental video. I should do a fundamental video. I don't like doing fundamental videos, but maybe I should do one. Bitcoin's moving down. Bitcoin's down 2.5% today. OnyxCoin is up 13% today. We're living in a twilight zone, you guys. It's great. That just adds to the momentum versus Bitcoin here on this chart. Hopefully, hopefully what doesn't happen is that this move is generated by OnyxCoin just hanging out, staying still, and then Bitcoin plummets and it tanks. Because if that's how it happens, then we're looking at this all wrong. But it's very unlikely that OnyxCoin grows this extent versus Bitcoin and Bitcoin's dropping. It's very unlikely. Right? If Bitcoin's tanking, you're not going to see that kind of growth versus Bitcoin. Maybe you hold up a little bit, but typically you drop more than Bitcoin if Bitcoin's dropping. Anyways, let's look at the 1 hour time frame. Stop talking so much. I'm just having fun because we're actually having a good day. We're actually up a little bit, right? It's not just that we're up. It's not just that it's a pump and dump like we have all these times, but we actually have a higher high right here, relatively speaking, on what seems to be a double bottom. It's kind of exciting, guys. Amidst all this divergence on the weekly time frame and this bullish setup we have, it's pretty exciting. This is the most excited about OnyxCoin I've been in quite some time, and we're still here at 0059. Maybe we are delusional. Maybe I'm delusional. The Delulu is showing through. We're moving up, and now we are where our current hourly low is right here at prior areas of resistance here. And man, I was gonna go off a whole different thought there, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep moving. 1 hour time frame here. Really, what the thought was that I wanted to go over was that just anybody who has stuck around, who's bought the dips, who's held, who's had their faith tested even. I'm not asking for unshakable faith or doubtlessness. It's okay to have doubts. But for any of you people who've stuck around, you really deserve what's coming. And I can't wait to see what happens whenever we're at new relative highs this whole cycle, right? Everyone's going to say we were lucky, but you know, if you're still here, you know that we're not lucky. No, we're tenacious. That's what we are. We're freaking tenacious, man. Relentless is a good word too. 1 hour MACD looks bullish to me. Stochastics look bullish to me. RSI looks bullish to me. Yeah, good volume on this candle up, good volume on this candle down. Where we are now, if we close here, I mean, we're literally at prior areas of support, prior areas of resistance. We might find support here. Should I take this low to high, or should I take that low? Let's look at the 4 hour time frame and do this. Maybe this low. This low to this high here. Yeah, we're below that 382. Is that right? Maybe I should take this low. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe I could take this one. I'm not really getting any help. It's just such weird price action with these pump and dumps. It's like my brain instinctively, I want to look at this wick as if it doesn't even count. You know what I mean? 4 hour time frame here. Looking at the RSI, it's bullish, right? You got overbought. Let me just see here. Hold on. Yeah, it's been since September. This is the last time that we got overbought without getting oversold immediately. Like overbought, didn't get oversold, and we got overbought again. And here was a double top. That was back at our 1.35 cent area. Back at our last highs. I'm just hoping that here we do continue to persist and that we don't turn things around. There's more volume in this 4-hour candle than we've had on any other spike. I think, and we have this double bottom look. I think this is a good sign. The stochastics make me bullish. We want to get into the overbought zone, right? We haven't been there in quite some time. We need to get into the overbought zone, but they look bullish from here at least. And the MACD looks bullish too because we bounced up, we got above the zero and we actually found support. Now we're moving higher. You guys, this looks good. This is different. It seems, at least at the moment, it seems different than over here. We do have an hour left in this 4-hour candle. A lot can happen. We can certainly pull back, but I don't want to jinx it, but I'm excited. I'm excited to say the least. We have our uptrend in the RSI, right? You broke out of your downtrend, and we actually formed an uptrend here. Higher lows, higher highs. We've got it going on. We're at the high point now. We can go higher. Absolutely we can. Maybe I'm not looking at this trend right. Maybe it's more like this. Whatever. We can. I'm not drawing the straightest line there. We can go higher. But if we find resistance here or turbulence here and we continue to consolidate, whatever, we can come back up. I think the real fun's going to be had once we're overbought on the daily time frame. And just the way that I'm looking at this here, I would think that's more reserved for the end of December or the very beginning of January. So it's the 11th now. Any day now, this divergence is going to let loose and we're going to rip through the roof, right? TA can only do so much. But if I'm guessing, if I'm giving it my best guess, I would think that we're in the overbought zone either a few days before Christmas or sometime after Christmas, like Christmas week and into the end of the year, that we actually start to rally. If not, maybe even in January. If we're not above 007 by the end of January or by the end of December, whatever, it's okay. We still have time, right? The rest of the market has time. As long as the rest of the market isn't pumping through the roof without us, then I think that we're okay, right? Anyways, I've got nothing else to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. A close here, we have 3 days and 10 hours left in this week. More like 3 days, 9 hours left in this week. A close here would be above last week's close, the weeks before, the week before, and the week before. That's over the last 5 weeks, including this week. This is the highest weekly close that we would have, effectively evaporating a month's worth of weekly closes if we close here or higher. That's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome, especially off this tweezer bottom, double bottom that we were looking for, and everything else that's implied. I'm just excited. We're starting to see signs, but again, I hope I'm not getting too excited because we have this way of getting excited. It seems different now, but let's just wait and see. Let's wait a week and see how these results go. Do keep in mind, of course, we could see lower lows. It could happen. This double bottom might be a lie, like the last one was. But even from there, we'd still have bullish prospects. Even from there, we still have all this divergence going on. So the move is coming. Just be patient, have faith, and buy the dip. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.